You're gonna build one, but at the end, it talks about the fire code official is authorized to require testing or other satisfactory evidence. So this is the same write-up as you have here on the one from New Jersey, and it states the same.
Did you highlight that?
Depending on the structural condition, a load test of any fire escape shall be conducted before it is returned to service. So, and it also says here that brings it back to you guys. If the fire escape is found to be in a state of deterioration, which is only about the paint job, or determined to be unsafe, which is a structural issue that you have, the fire official shall be required. The fire escape shall be repaired immediately. Depending upon the structural condition, a load test of any fire escape should be conducted before the fire escape is returned to service. And your code, which is what is on its violation here, it says right here that the first piece of it is all about, you know, if you're going to build a new one, it's 100 pounds per square foot. So that's all engineering. That's just some engineer satisfying that and getting a permit built on that. But then the last line of your code, 1027.16.5, materials and strength, it says, the fire code official is authorized to require testing or other satisfactory evidence. And this is what I talked to you about. So no one can touch a sprinkler system without sitting down with you and showing some plan. No one is authorized to touch a alarm system of any kind without having a plan, permits and plans, but there's always this communication. Fire escapes, which is the bastard child of egress, has always been hidden outside, nobody cares. They've been fixing them without permits, they've been painting them without permits, they've been replacing them sometimes without permits. So this is the only line you need that says, you walk in and the only violation you're ever going to write is test, when you're writing a violation, repair, paint, test. So as soon as you walk up to any fire escape that's rusted, you don't tell what tread, don't pinpoint anything. What we teach nationwide is you write a violation that always says repair it, paint it, test it. And they're always going to ask you, what's this test mean? And you're going to say, well, as 1027.16 says, a fire official is authorized to require testing, which is a load test, or other satisfactory evidence. So the other satisfactory evidence, which we talked about, is, do you want to fix some of your fire escape and load the rest? Do you want to fix it all and refurbish it all today and avoid the load test altogether? Get your structural engineer to provide me with a inspection criteria letter. We'll sit down with the chief, or with the fire official, the fire marshal, and then if the plan is good, we'll initiate this program and forego the load test. Once the fire escape is fully refurbished, and we're doing that to 500 East Monroe, the recommended live test, load testing is every 25 years, but you're still going to test it every 5 years with an inspection. Now, it doesn't mean, because you said there is no 5-year rule here, you can make this thing get load tested as often as you want, but if it's been refurbished, a load test on average is every 25 years. If one is even required, because then you can just do individual pull tests and stuff. You have a question?
No, I was going to.
Oh. So is everybody pretty much here? I'm going to show you, I'm going to play one piece of,
What's your YouTube channel that you were talking about?
I'm going to put it online for you right now. And it's called Firescape Academy and Firescape Engineers. Those are the two channels. Firescape Academy is all inspector training. It's all fire code, building code, and housing official training. The Firescape Engineers is nothing but fire escapes that are online right now, inspections all over the country, and the repair criteria of what needs to be done. We're unique, and we're the only ones that put out a fire escape repair on a YouTube channel that not only tells you what needs to be done, but also gives you the slideshow at the end of it. We do that so that all these vendors out there don't have an excuse, oh, I didn't know what you wanted, but it also lets the inspector see what's going on. So the 500 Monroe will be on the internet, so I don't have to give you a document. Even though I'm going to send you the hard copy stuff, you can get quickly online, because if a report takes 1 to 2 weeks to get out, the video and the slideshows are already up online within 3 days.
Their problem that they had here is finding somebody who would inspect it and fix it.
By the way, let's get that clear. Very rare you have two people that can do both, inspect it and repair it. So let me tell you who can inspect all your fire escapes. Structural engineers that are properly trained and know what to do, they can inspect any fire escape. So I'm not the only guy that can do this. Any ornamental ironwork guy can fix this fire escape. if he has the proper guidance. He doesn't want to fix it because it's like, to him it's like an elephant. He's like, dude, I don't want to even touch this thing. But any ornamental ironwork can fix this. Any structural engineer and properly trained architect or firescape engineer can inspect these firescapes. So I'm not the only guy.
But the firescape engineers, they have to, there's only 2 certificates out of 2 states.
Right, California and Boston has licenses, and again, structural engineers and or others acceptable to the building official. So whoever, like myself, I would try to qualify myself, but so would an architect want to qualify himself with you. But if ever I get resistance from an official says, nope, I don't want you, I'm still able to do the job, but I have to piggyback myself with a local structural engineer to basically sign off all the documents that we use. So the structural engineer can show up at the end regardless, because all state laws are structural engineers in every 50 states. The majority of the states it's structural engineers and architects, and in some states it's structural engineers, architects, and others are qualified and acceptable to the building official holding some license or credentials. Okay? So let me play one. Of this Channel 7 news pieces here. And then we'll go through a little bit of the stuff that we've already done today. And I'm going to go over industry standard confidence tests. I'm going to go over industry standard tags. And these confidence tests, if you start reading these confidence tests, which is already in use by Seattle, Portland, Oregon, Tacoma, several cities in New Jersey, Massachusetts. This is basically, there was no confidence test out there. So we created one and we let the city officials and the fire departments use these as basically an industry standard guideline so you don't get opinion letters from these people, because most of the time you get an opinion letter from a structural engineer who did or did not get on the firescape, and he writes, to the best of my information, knowledge, and belief, the firescape is structurally sound and has been kept painted. And you're like, oh great, and you put that in, and only to have a fireman fall from the firescape 2 years later, and that paper didn't save the fireman from falling. So that's where we're...
I've talked to Shadowski, and he's, I want to do with it, it's too political, isn't it? For him? Isn't that what you ran into, Mitch, every time?
Well, you brought up a very good point. These tags. City of Seattle, they made, every firescape must have a tag. And all you're doing, just like an elevator, does every elevator in the city have to have a tag? Perfect. So you want a tag on every firescape. Not to determine whether it's good or bad, you just want a tag on it to state, have its condition. By the way, Portland, Oregon, as of January, we gave a class similar to this, and 3 months later they made a state code change. So I'll put you in contact with Inspector A.J. Jackson, and she'll show you that now they went through the whole thing and saying this is very good, and instead of going from dead last now, they're number 1 in the nation as, and if you want to know how to make a state code change, we'll go through that. But basically, you're going to be able to, but this is a 3 to 5 year program. You just want to put one of these tags on every firescape to identify its condition. You putting a tag that's going to have your city information on here, not mine, your city information. The only one I will ever have my information on, or some structural engineer will have his information, is the white one. Because this is a certified firescape. In lieu of a load test, he will put up a certified tag. In the middle of the night, when there's a fire, guess what your firemen need to see? A white one. There's a white one on it, they get on. So this is nothing but a safety program that you guys are initiating over the next 3 to 5 years to identify every firescape and put a tag. You will put in, while you're inspecting any and all firescapes anywhere, not firescapes, you're on any building nearby. You know, there's a firescape there, you go to your car, because you have 50 of these in your car, 50 yellows, 50 reds. And you say, well, if there isn't anything dangling, if there's no life safety issue that you can generally see, you will put a tag on it. And when you read the top of this tag, it has a very important thing. It says right on top of the tag, contact fire official. That's step 1. Step 2, it says have your firescape inspected, and it says by a structural engineer or others acceptable. And then it says step 3, have it serviced and have it load tested. So, but when you put this tag, you just come back to your office and you just put it down as another identified location in your city that has a tag. Now the 30-day letter goes out. And that 30-day letter goes out by you guys as part of your normal awareness to a building that says I've identified a firescape on your building. I need a copy of your current certificate on it. Guess what they're going to say? Evidence of maintenance or a copy of your certificate.
What?
What? So, and that's okay, it's cool, so then you send them another letter, well, then you need to have your fire escape load tested and or refurbished. Pick one. Now you give them another 30 days, right? Those are for the people who call you up because they saw a tag on their fire escape or they received a letter in 30 days. What about the guys that ignore you after 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days? What's the answer there?
Court.
Well, like we said, there's fines and permits and fees, because it says right there, fines, permits, and fees may apply if you let this thing. So as soon as you put a tag on it and the guy doesn't fix it for 6 months or 6 years, you don't care. Because right now, your fireman ain't getting on it, because if there's a yellow or a red tag on a fire escape, you're not getting on it. And isn't that what you guys are all about? Because as you know, the gray-haired guys on the line tell the young-haired guys on the line, in case of fire, don't use the fire escape. It's a standard, it's the whisper, it's the silent whisper. It's like, in case of fire, use your ladders, use your apparatus, don't ever get on these fire escapes. And it's a true statement. But as soon as you get on there and it's got a white one on it, what can you do?
Well, the problem is you're probably not gonna see these, because if you put them at the
No,
bottom.
they're always at the bottom, 7 to 10 feet off the
But if
ground.
a guy goes to get on it from up above, you don't, unless somebody's noted it down below.
I
Like
know.
if you're on,
It's coming out.
if you're coming out of the building.
No, this is when you guys arrive, you look up, you see a tag, it's gotta be it's gotta be posted 7 to 10 feet off the ground. And it's for your guys to know that the fire escape is safe to get on it. Not for anybody in the building, they're
We don't
already.
always notice that we go in the front door, we go up the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
That gets blocked off, the only way out is, oh, I'm using this fire escape.
Yeah, but again, in the next 3 to 5 years, you're just tagging these things up. How, when and when they get fixed is gonna be political, it's gonna be timing, it's gonna be many other factors, but all you need now is some sort of red flag for your men that says, when you get there, you see a white one, get on it. You see a yellow or a red one, proceed with caution. You see a red one, don't ever get on a red one.
Our free right now is pretty much use it.
Yeah, right. But if we can get them all back online, not only is the occupants gonna be safer, so are all your firemen.
Is that a Dubs list issue? Because those are means of egress, and it's counted.
It depends on whether that's one of the means of egress.
Most of them are, aren't they?
So I don't want to say,
Aren't they?
I don't want to get in general.
All right.
Generalize them, but I don't want to look each one of them.
Alright, let's see a video here. And this was, I'm gonna let it load up a little bit. This, you guys remember in Rhode Island, the station night fire, killed 100 people in the basement? Okay. Right after that, Boston is north of this area. The Channel 7 news reporter wanted to do a piece on fire escapes. Hey, I wanted to let people know that they can use fire escapes. When she spoke with me, I said, you know that 80% of the stuff I inspect always fails? No way, there's laws, there's this and that. So I taught her a 15-minute class on how to do fire escapes. She's downtown just like you. And then she went out all by herself. So what was supposed to be a 1-minute piece actually became a 4-minute piece. And we use this to help. If you want to kill the light switch, go ahead. See if it's properly loading. Yeah, sometimes when I make it big and if I don't have enough of a good connection, so let me put it on there. It'll load faster. Just give it a second. This is right on the YouTube channel. That's on the Fire Escape Academy. And it features firemen, but also building inspectors who are supposed to be watching this stuff, who have not been watching this stuff. And 40 out of the 50 states, fire departments run all the fire inspections, including fire escapes. 10 out of the 50 states, building departments are watching it, and they're dropping the ball. So here it is. I have to keep it small, so. Try to raise it up.
Broken. And what state officials didn't know, the system they set up to keep fire escapes safe is also falling apart.
Potential ramifications are disastrous.
So let's look at this one. This expert ironworker is licensed to build, maintain, and inspect fire escapes. So then over here, for months, we examined dozens of them with alarming results. Looking at this today, would this pass inspection?
No.
In dormitories, at theaters, at homes, and apartment buildings.
Rust is actually eating away the metal of the fire escape.
Right.
And the bottom line,
It'll get weak and then eventually it'll fall.
This one has rotted connections. This one missing bolts, twisted metal.
would the stairs come down?
No, never come down.
This one, a broken tread.
So how dangerous is it for the people inside this building?
This fire escape is definitely gonna put somebody either in the hospital or it's gonna put somebody in a cemetery.
Fire escapes are so critical. The state building code requires they be certified for structural adequacy and safety every 5 years. But our investigation found that safeguard is simply being ignored. Here's proof. We chose fire escapes at random in Boston, Somerville, Cambridge, Worcester, and here in Quincy. We checked building department files
But there's no fire escape certification.
to see if building owners had submitted their mandatory inspection reports.
There's no certification in this one either.
Bottom line, not one we checked in Quincy had been certified as safe. And the director of inspectional services admitted because of staffing shortages, the city has no idea how many other fire escape owners are breaking the rules.
And as a result, do you know how many fire escapes in your city are safe or not?
Well, I don't know.
In Worcester, not one we checked was certified. In Somerville,
No.
4 more fire escapes,
Did it fall through the cracks? Yeah.
not one up-to-date certification. And again, no system for keeping track. How can they get away?
I guess that the shortest answer of all is because we don't have the resources to sit here and follow up on these things.
If structural deficiencies are reported, local building inspectors can actually evacuate residents until repairs are made.
Would you talk to us on camera about this? No?
But when we surveyed 24 more communities, most admitted they had no idea how many fire escapes were certified. In Taunton, inspectors told us they haven't seen a certification in 25 years. Northampton officials said it's a cold day in hell when that happens. In Cambridge, too, not one of our test buildings was certified, and the official in charge would not come out to discuss it. In Boston, where there are more than 8,000 fire escapes, again, according to inspectional services, not one we checked was certified. Officials know they are required to enforce the building code, but they admit they don't always know if owners are breaking the law.
The building code is being ignored.
Right, but it's difficult to write a violation if you don't have knowledge of something like that.
But state officials say for a critical issue like this, communities should know. And they warn the Massachusetts building code is not optional.
Does it worry you that these fire escapes are not being certified?
This is an important issue and should not be ignored.
That's because after the smoke and flames begin, it'll be too late to learn you've got no way out.
I can't stress it enough, Hank, that these things have to be maintained and someone's got to be watching.
As a result of our investigation, state officials will now issue an alert to local inspectors. Meanwhile, if there's a fire escape on your home or office, you can contact your local building department to make sure it's properly certified. In the newsroom, I'm Hank Ryan.
Okay, so that's what we use to basically say that what the problem that you have here, everybody has the same problem. Everybody's been ignoring fire escapes for 50 to 75 years. This is not unique. Any place that's an industrial city that had buildings over 5 or 10 stories, this was the standard. But if you go here to Fire Escape Academy, you're going to see in here association classes that we've done, whether it be an awareness in Oregon, an awareness in New Jersey, an awareness in Chicago, an awareness to a, what do you call it, facilities, not facilities, but housing inspectors, Portland, Oregon, downtown walk-around similar to what you have. So when you go on here, and I can send you the playlist, so I have playlists here. So if I was to send you a playlist, and I can send a lot of these to you, and this would become part of the playlist, it would include this Channel 7 news piece for future training, includes downtown walk-around, but I would send you either the seminar class that I did in East Orange, Houston, Texas, Dallas. But let me show you one here that has nothing but life safety issues. There's 43 videos. There's over 500 videos here. So you'll always find something that's similar to your region. But the greatest part about it is the downtown walk-arounds is probably where you're going to get your best training because it's one-on-one training. So if you come in here, and I was going to show you one inspector, the state inspector training. So I have had opportunities where I've had a state inspector be with me, college training, you know, at colleges, nationwide seminars. If I send you this link to this nationwide seminar, there's 32 training videos in there from all over the country. So I'm just going to use one. Let's use a seminar in Lowell. This was to a building department, similar to this, about 6 guys in a class. And I'll just play for a few seconds of it, what it is, and then and you go this at your leisure because I'll send you all the links. And if you just type in on any YouTube channel, Firescape Academy, everything shows up, and then you pick the ones you want. Similar class, slideshow presentation. Okay, so this is me and their guys. This is the fire official. So you can stop and go ahead at any time. And I put it together, this is probably a 2-hour class now, and I put it together so that at the end it also has the downtown walkarounds as part of the class. So if you come in here, let me see if I can actually pull it right off at the top here. So as you can see, they're already all listed here. Let me just pull one that says an hour and something. I'll see. Sorry, somebody trying to reach me. So that one that I was just showing you, which is the association there, it's an hour and 57 minutes, but it's part of the class, but also some of the downtown walk around all joined together and edited together. So I'm just going to try to move it forward. It is sucking out of a phone, so you're going to have to be patient while it's... And right now there's 439 videos total in the Academy training, including some of the direct training of the inspectors on the downtown walk around. So just wait for it to load up.
Issue an alert to local inspectors.
So I include the show you just saw on here. Let me just move it way up here and see if it'll play it forward. So it'll, again, a lot of these, the slideshow will be brought in, and then as soon as you get towards the end here, it'll be part of the downtown walk around. And the downtown walk around, we're actually going to play your videos today as the downtown walk around because we just loaded onto here. So let's take a look at some of the buildings, and then we'll just get into the paperwork, and you can just leave it at the question.
Look at all this smashed release arm.
So this is me and the building commissioner of that city right after his class. Sorry that it's trying to buffer and catch up, but you guys get the general idea is that there's nothing like live training to sort of get it. So today's star of the show is going to be Mike over here. So I'm gonna stop this thing from happening because it's slower than slow. So let me do that. So before I do.
Yeah, it's in the open position.
So there's the commissioner.
Out of balance.
Smashed from
And let's
the...
see where it's pinned, and it got hit by a truck.
So let me go now just to your videos. You want to leave it on? And then we'll open it up to questions, and we'll get right into it. Because this is not really, I apologize for the haphazardness of it. This is going to be one of those quickly classes, and we're really going to just rely on some of the videos that he and I did today.
Yeah, you didn't get in town till 5 last night.
Right, so let me throw some these videos here for you to... it's loading, hold on a second. All right. While it's, I just gotta let it open up to the other side on this. Let's talk about some of the questions that we have on this sheet here. And then I'll stop playing some of his videos and then we'll open up to questions. When you have the class that we teach, you know, this fall is what happened in Boston. It's a Pulitzer Prize winning photograph here. A fireman was actually on the fire escape when this thing gave way. The woman died, the child survived. This happened in '73, and it won a Pulitzer Prize. It's a pretty famous photograph that basically helped change the code in Massachusetts. And the code in Massachusetts was the fire escapes must be maintained at all times. Same code you guys have here. You don't have a 5-year rule that forces it to be done all the time. So because of that, fire escapes tend to fall to the wayside like they did here. It was right after that that they then changed the rule to you must prove it every 5 years with a load test or a structural engineering inspection. These are some of the classes that we teach at the academies. Some of the classes I teach is 6 hours long, and you can use it for continuing ed credits. I can't give you the credit, but if your association brings me in as a speaker, and I usually speak for free, you get your continuing ed credits for the same class. This is the photograph. This is what happened in '73. And then you can see the varying sequence of the photos. So if you want to clip this and put this on your wall of your cubicle as a reminder as to why fire escapes need your attention. Okay. This is the credentials. So whenever we go into any city, we have to send you our credentials, including the only 2 licenses available to be a fire escape inspector. One's out of Boston, put out by the building department, one's out of California, put out by the fire department. Now, if I'm not accepted to inspect the fire escapes in your area, because with these credentials and the fact that we teach classes, and that's one of the reasons why we teach class, then we would piggyback ourselves with a structural engineer. We were brought in on this particular fire escape anyway by a structural engineer who wanted us to inspect it. So even there's structural engineers out there that don't know what to do with these things, and they call an expert like us to look at it. But not always does the fact that they have a structural engineer's license mean that they know what they're doing. I was in Chicago yesterday looking at 3 fire escapes on a 120 unit condo complex, lofts, factory. And the letter that I have, which it's in the car, I don't have it here with me, it says by a structural engineer with his stamp, says the fire escapes are all satisfactory. I went there because all I was doing was putting a bid on the job using that as a guide. So I do my walkthrough anyway. One of the last fire escape I inspected was in the state of collapse, was ready to drop. Now the owner of the building was very pissed off. He's saying, my structural engineer wouldn't see something like this? And I said, sir, I'm just going to give you the photographs. So I just gave him the photographs associated with it. I said, hey, I'm only bringing you the information that, first of all, if I'm going to fix this fire escape based off of what this guy says, I don't even want this job because my men are going to get hurt getting on it. But by the way, you have a fire escape that's ready to collapse on this 120 unit building that the support brackets are all rotted out. There's nothing there holding them. And I had to get off this building very quickly on that particular fire escape. So he was a little disturbed about that situation. Tags. These tags, this is industry standard documentation. We've been teaching this class for probably at least 5 years. My first success story was actually Seattle, Washington. And these tags are a variation of what Seattle is doing, because Seattle wants 19-inch tags by 11 inches high. I think they're kind of monstrous. But Tacoma, it has a smaller tag. Portland is going to be going with, Portland, Oregon is going to be going with these tags. All the cities down in the East Coast, in Massachusetts, in New York, in New Jersey, they like this size tag. This is a New Jersey tag. But every tag looks the same in that the only thing I change is this little space here that says what the code number is. I write your code there, I put your city information on there. The rest of the tag stays the same. It's nothing but general code information on these tags. Okay? So there's nothing here that's going to be like specific to an industry or specific to a company or specific, this is a general tag talking about the code.
It's not promoting you.
No, our name is not on there, but basically it's a condition tag. And as I mentioned before, when you speak with Portland, Oregon, they wrote into the code as effective January that all fire escapes must be tagged, and they have it's called signage. They wrote a code to it that's called signage. And what they want is a tag somewhere on the fire escape, 7 to 10 feet off the ground. They want it to have dates on it when it was inspected and when the next 5 year is. And they want to have information on the tag that tells you about the general condition, yellow, red, or white. So they wrote the code, and you now, instead of reinventing the wheel, you get in touch with AJ Jackson, which is the Portland Fire Prevention. You say, how'd you do it, and what do I have to do so that I can just copy and paste and push this down the line? You may not want to change state code, but you may want to change just your city code. And she'll tell you how to do that, because Portland became the model that the rest of the state said, hey, if you're going to do it, we're all going to do it. What do we have to do for a state code? All right, and as this thing just loads up. So the next thing is the confidence test. Now, the reason why Seattle brought me in is because guess what they had? 3 guys up on a fire escape having a smoke, and guess what happened to the fire escape that was lag bolted into a wood structure? Ripped off the building, they all fell to the ground, they all got hurt, they all got maimed, nobody got hurt, they started suing everybody. So the city brought me in 3 to 5 years ago, and what they do? They had, I think, was probably one of the worst inspection regimes, because there wasn't inspection. You could literally self-inspect your fire escape to a certain degree and send a notice back to the city, and it just got totally out of control. So we came in, gave a class just like this, talked about confidence tests. There was none in the nation, so we invented one. And all the confidence test is nothing but a questionnaire for the structural engineer. This confidence test has nothing to do with you. This confidence test scares the hell out of the guy who's claiming to tell you that instead of giving you an opinion that says the fire escape is to the best of my information, knowledge, and belief, is there any wiggle room there if I say that to you, if I give you an opinion letter? Can I use those disclaimers in my benefit? To the best of my information, knowledge, and belief, today the fire escape looks structurally sound and has been kept painted. Today. Is there any wiggle room so in case something tragic happens that
Sure.
You can get me? But if you read this confidence test, what it is, it broke it up into 2 parts. It broke it up into general, which is, let's talk about the paint and some of the electrical stuff nearby, and some of the doors coming to the fire escape, and then a structural question. It's asking you specific. Have you checked the fire escape? Is every connection on the fire escape free of internal rust? Is every connection on the fire escape either been load tested or refurbished? Is every connection into the building where you can't see been verified through through exploratory work and destructive, removing bricks and stuff? Or have you nullified that by putting in a new connection to basically say, I don't want to destroy the building, it's cheaper for me to put a new connection into this building than it is to verify the old one? And is the fire escape cantilevers balanced, and will they drop 2 to 3 feet per second when they hit the ground and stay down? So all these, and is the catwalk continuous and over a roof to a public way? Bless you. So these are all the questions that we ask, that this confidence test will scare the hell out of anybody giving you an opinion letter. And this right now is a confidence test. If you want to go to seattle.org, go to that fire prevention, go to confidence test. They have a ton of confidence tests. They have sprinkler confidence tests. They have standard testing sheets that any company that is testing for them would go there and grab it. Guess what's there also? A fire escape confidence test. You go to Tacoma, there's a fire escape confidence test that they copied from it. So if you want an existing confidence test, this is the Seattle one. And if all I have to do is take and put in your codes here, whatever that code you just gave me, I'm going to put there, and I'm going to write your code in here. So this is an industry standard documentation that does not have my name on it anywhere, and it's basically you use it to have somebody fill out the form. They may throw at you, well, is this a state document? There's da-da-da-da. You say, listen, you know what? You don't have to fill out this form. But if you want to answer every question that's on this form on your letterhead, Mr. Jack Engineering from where? Because you'll get these kind of people. I need these questions answered on your letterhead. Otherwise, attach this form. And so by simply you going on to seattle.gov, this is it'll come to you in a PDF or a Word document, and you just eliminate your city and you put your city information. You don't even need me. We do it for you. We come in there because that's part of our training, and this is what we do to build relationships with a lot of fire departments. So this is there. Tacoma went one better, and because Seattle didn't, they have the yearly test. Now the yearly test, if you look at the questions on the yearly test, it's a simple thing. They ask you 3 questions. They always do the 5-year, but they have this yearly, and they put this yearly test strictly on the ownership and the management of the building. And you have to answer these 3 questions. Bolt supports are not damaged or rusted. Paint is in good condition, and all moving parts, ladders, stairways, and doors to the fire escape are working. And sign it. So you guys do a yearly anyway. So this yearly is going to be something that the guy from the building is going to hand to you that he's done this, and he says that he's walked it. Or you make the guy walk it. You don't have to walk the fire escape. You can make the guy walk it while you're watching him, and then have him sign this all over to you. So there's your yearly, here's your 5-year, and what's your question?
You're familiar with the reporting software for like sprinkler systems, fire alarms, where they have to report to you. It's a free database for fire departments, and the fee is it's added on to their inspection reports. They send them to us. They maintain the records, and if one's out of date, they notify you. You're familiar with that software?
I'm familiar that you guys have a lot of software out there that you use,
This
but
is
you're
actually
basically pushing on this is sort of, let me remind you that this is out of either non-compliance or that your data's coming up.
I was wondering if this would fall into something like that.
We would throw ourselves onto these people if that's what you're implying, but fire escapes are the bastard child of egress. We're not thought about, we're the last thing you probably deal more with, issues with plutonium than you do, the fire escapes, and it's 50% of your
Because I'm
needs of
thinking
egress.
this is just as important, if not.
If you give me the information, I'll hook up with them and make this is a checklist item. One of the things that we're gonna tell you that's gonna make this, something that's gonna be in the front, you have a checklist item when you go into a building, and let's say the last thing in order for them to occupy a building is a smoke detector, right? If you add one more thing to your checklist, and you say, smoke detectors are fine, this building is beautiful, great job. I just need one thing, when I check off the smoke detector, I need a copy of your current certification for the fire escape that's on the outside of this building, and you're ready to go, man. Everything's the best I've ever seen. I just need a copy of your current certificate. And what are they gonna say? Huh? You say, not a problem, I'm still gonna sign off on this, but now, let me just take a quick look at your fire escape, because it's supposed to have a tag. There's a city ordinance here that said every building must have a tag regardless of condition. So, I got dangling treads. I was gonna give you this occupancy, but now I'm not, because I see dangling treads. You got a life safety issue, and this is actually a red tag. Or, it doesn't look that bad. If you get on this right away and get this thing inspected right away, you can start occupying your building. Or at that time, you make a determination. But you make it a checklist item. The second thing that Boston did after that fire, building departments, you can pull any permit you want on any building, but you can't close it. In the closing of every permit, whether you're changing a toilet or putting on a new roof, I need a copy of your current fire escape affidavit, because your second means of egress is a fire escape. I need a copy of it for my record to close your permit. So there's the people that are gonna start helping you. Permits means money's being spent on that building. They can't close the permits, and they're not gonna enforce it. They're gonna make you aware that there's no permit. There's no current certification. So that permit becomes and stays suspended for a while. It stays held pending closure until you guys get a certificate on it. That helps you guys in any way. That's what they did, is basically start making a checklist item. So if you have checklists for the fire department on a building, add this as a checklist, and you just mentioned something else. So let's, I'm gonna see if this thing is,
To get anything through this city, you have to consider the cost. We gotta get something, but what would you estimate the inspection cost per floor, I know you can't say per.
Yeah, I can help you.
you?
Yep. A structural engineer, on average, will charge you anywhere from 75 to 175. Is that an accurate statement? Any structural engineer will work for you for anywhere from $75 to $175 or more.
An hour?
An hour. An average fire escape system of 5 stories should burn up about 5 hours, no more than 10, on average. Between inspecting it, getting back, writing some sort of report, speaking with you, dealing with you, 5 to 10 hours.
So you're saying about $1,000.
Let's say the average is $100, so 5 to 10 hours could be anywhere from 500 to 1,000, or it could be 1,000 to 1,500. But you're looking at, so that's structural engineers. Our fee structure normally, depending on the residential, is anywhere from $189 to $489 for residential inspections, $49 to $989 for typical commercial 1 to 5 story residential involving some structural engineer, and then it's $1,000 to $5,000 depending on the structural adequacy or who we're tied in with. This particular building that we're doing on East Bend Road, tying in with an engineering firm, we only charge them $1,500 to do that. that inspection. So that's not gonna be the biggest cost associated, because minimally, they can find a structural engineer in your area who will tie in with the inspector and send you inspection criteria list. And that inspection criteria list will tell you what he's looking to do on that particular fire escape. Okay? So.
And then average repairs, I mean, it all depends on what you're gonna find in
Sure,
them.
I can give you some numbers. An average staircase platform could run anywhere from full repair, cementing, and full repainting, $3 to $5 grand a floor. Got 10 floors, could be 30 to 50 grand to refurbish an entire fire escape, tying it back into the building and give it a full paint job.
But then that's gonna
So there's
last
no
you-
magic in numbers.
25 years.
That's gonna last you a long time.
Well, if, again, every connection is gonna get sealed with 50-year silicone. The only thing this client will ever deal with that fire escape with 50-year silicone in every connection is just a paint job. And it's a perfect example.
Regardless, it all comes down to less than one liability case.
We were there looking at a building right across the street. Brand new, painted black. As a matter of fact, when we walked up to this baby, she was painted. We thought she was brand new. And in actuality, she was
Painted over all, or
painted over all the rust, all welded. And when he looked at it, at closer investigation, he saw all the bulges on the treads from the rust still in there, and they just basically painted it. And you probably have a certificate from that, from some structural engineer who didn't know what to look for either, even though he's a structural engineer.
I'm sure we don't have anything on
The
it.
fire escape is basically, the reason why the structural engineers don't want to touch them is because they're 6 times the work, 1/6 the pay. They can't make their 5, 10, say again?
Probably didn't even pull a permit.
Well, here's a great thing. Why would I need to pull a permit if all I was doing was painting it? There's no paint permits. So everybody fixes their fire escape under the so-called paint. What are you doing? Painting the fire escape. Why? Because somebody wrote them a scrape and paint violation. And that's what's been written for the past 50 to 75 years, is scrape and paint violations.
Are you from, are there any, do you know of any ANSI, like the ladder laws, is any of those that would be in place already
For which part?
for fire escapes?
No, what do you mean by the ladder?
Like ladders off fire trucks have to be tested every year.
Yeah, the fire escape, the fire escape ladder is part of the fire escape inspection. It gets load tested. You know what I'm saying? For all its connection, it's part of the inspection. The ladders to the roof are inspected, and we saw some fire escapes that the bolts were all shot on those things.
But I meant, are any of them in place, are any of them that you're
No.
aware of right now that has a timeline that has to have them tested?
No, the ladders are, the way you inspect any other ladders associated with your situation, doesn't even come to play in the fire escape. They get scooped up in that they're part of the fire escape, and they're a metal ladder. And here's why they're not so worried about the metal ladders. 2 flats, punched holes, the bar goes through it and it gets welded on the outside. So even if the welds give, the fact that they're punched through the flat, there's your strength.
So we're probably not, there's nothing in place, we have to have something put in place before we even
I'm just
start
gonna
this
get,
timeline. 25,
You're just talking about the ladder though.
I'm talking about the whole fire escape.
Some of these buildings, the ladder is the fire escape.
I didn't know if ANSI covered the fire escapes at all.
Showing that picture.
I'm sure you see.
Because it's
some.
like right here, this just says it has to be done, it don't give you any kind of timeline. It's really this code almost might as well be worthless in there, because it gives you no,
City codes for.
we have to add something.
It's every 5 years, correct?
for what? For your code? You don't have a 5-year code. You have,
We don't
it
have
must be
any.
maintained at all times.
Everybody else is 5 year though?
Most states have adopted the 5-year rule. So you can make it, but here's the best thing, you can quickly bypass this whole thing. If the code has not caught up with you, what you basically do is, through a local ordinance, you make every fire escape be inspected every 5 years. But
But
just going through the identification, by you wanting every fire escape identified, you bypass that anyway. because you want to tag on every fire escape. For some reason, my fire escape, the videos that we did doesn't want to play on this particular one here. So let me, I'm going to bring up one of the videos that I've done that I know shows a downtown walk around. So let me, it's the same exact scenario. So let me do that. Alright, so now that we have the tags, and while I'm shutting this down and turning it on, confidence test. So I'll make a confidence test for you guys. Now, let's talk about repair guidelines. You want to know what a load test is? Because everybody keeps it like it's a secret story. I got a load test right on the top corner. You know, the guidelines and what a load test is? I mean, this is all shrunk small so I can keep the paper down, guys.
Whoa.
No. But basically, here's a load test. Here's a load test. You take any square platform, 5 by 5, it's 25 square feet. Times 100 pounds per square foot, that's 2,500 pounds. I gotta put lead, sand, water, 2,500 pounds of something on there for 30 minutes. Take measurements before, take measurements during, take measurements after. Does everybody know what a passing test looks like? Anybody know what a fail test looks like? And depends where you are at when it falls. So now you know why load testing is not something that everybody wants to do, simply because there's dangers with it. That's why refurbishment of a fire escape is much cheaper. On average, that fire escape there, to be load tested at, if it was in pristine condition and it was tied back, you're probably looking at 20 grand, 25 grand worth of load testing fees for that entire fire escape at Monroe. Doesn't buy one bolt, doesn't buy one stick of paint.
So if you refurbish it, you don't have to do the load test.
And
Well, I'm gonna go over why, because you have to agree with me what a refurbishment means. And if you don't agree with me, then you don't understand, because it says right on the thing, testing and or satisfactory evidence. What you've been accepting, you and everyone in the United States has been accepting in the past as satisfactory evidence basically an opinion letter. But those opinion letters were being now issued by people who weren't even walking the fire escape anymore, because you guys weren't double checking this paperwork. So, do you want me to walk a fire escape and make $500, or can I just give you a document that I know the fire chief is not even going to look at it and make $500? So, because there was no sheriff in town, these opinion letters started becoming just that, a quick way to make some money from a helpless owner of a building who was like freaked out that he wrote him a violation. Okay. So I'm going to go into I'm going to do this, but I've also shown you how all fire escapes are built.
I got a question about the load test. Do you do one floor at a time, or you
One
do
floor at a
the
time.
whole thing?
One floor at a time. Every platform at a time, every staircase section at a time. Do you know how long it takes to do that whole building?
Long time.
Long time. So we also have repair guidelines, repair procedures. We also talk about in here how to build new fire escapes. So we put in here some guidelines on how to build a new fire escape. So, and we talked about that spiral, remember? There's a spiral. Even though you can use spirals as a means of egress on a case-by-case basis, every now and then that's your only answer. Every now and then, a ladder is going to be the only answer, even though the code prohibits it. But you're going to say on a case-by-case basis, there's no room, the only thing I can put on there with a full metal stairs, the only thing left for me so that trucks don't wipe out this staircase is going to be a ladder, and it's going to be accepted by you and the fire and the building inspector on a case-by-case basis. So let me again go to Fire Escape Academy. I'm gonna get an inspection that's been done. Now here's inspection reports. With today's digital technology, if I'm gonna come tell you that there's a problem with the fire escape, I better give you something, minimally a written report of what the repair guidelines are gonna be and photographs. I can't just tell you things are bad over there. I need to send you photographs. Now, they don't have to be pretty like this, because everybody knows you take any digital camera, you throw it into your computer, it'll print 4 per page, 9 per page, 1 per page. So anybody who inspects, any structural engineer inspecting, better generate a photo report to you that says there's a problem there and here's the photos to prove it. So now reporting is required. So a report must be done so that there's a sit down between the engineer and the inspector to talk about the owner, who's always gonna complain about the price, right? So we can't have a conversation with the owner to discuss what should we do based on, well, how much you got to spend? That, okay, let's just give it a paint job and let me go speak to that inspector now. Now it's like, here's the problem, here's what needs to be done, what do you wanna do? You want a level 1, you want a level 2, you want a level 3, do you want to load test it, or do you want to refurbish it? And he'll say, well, you're gonna let me load test it as is, based on the photographs? So the only thing you have is, the second option is fix some of these things and then load test the rest, will that satisfy you? Or refurbish the whole thing, negate the load test, and by the way, it's now I'm not gonna talk to you about load testing for 25 more years. Because you basically refurbished that fire escape, which is on a 75-year-old building, to a new line in the sand, which is today.
But you still have to check it every year and paint it.
Every 5 years, you have to do a structural, but then I want